a lot of trouble in so many ways. And when I say trouble, it's because one, is live, right? And then two, because it's just way too much information. And like I said, this year has to be a year where, I go into the thing where it's two eyes, two ears, one mouth for a reason. And it's because, there are people that watch and listen. But I had to share this because through a series of coincidences, I ended up on this bike, which it shouldn't have been so, but it happened. So, in being on this bike, I entertain myself various ways. So I was on Smule, and there's a person there that does tracks. And every so often when I want to express myself, I'll hop on, and I didn't see where they had a blank track. Then finally I did find a blank one. And it was just happened to be the first blank one that I found. And it was just entitled Sadness, right? And I thought it was just going to be some slow, sad thing. And sometimes they don't even get on the track when they do it. But they did, And I don't know really anything about the person. I don't know if it's male or if it's female, because sometimes it might just be a couple. But so as I was listening, whatever they wrote or they freestyled on it or whatever, they were basically saying how, the devil. All right, sorry about that. So there's an artist called Canton Jones. He's a Christian artist, and one of his songs is "I'm gonna stay saved." And he talks about how he's out with his wife. They're going to a fast food place. The person is rude, and he's just like, "I'm gonna stay saved," right? So I don't know how to go with this. So basically, the lyrics that the person wrote on this song was basically about how, they were changing. I talk a lot sometimes in videos about how if you're coming from North Florida, you're going to South Florida, you see the dark waters from Jacksonville, you hit Miami, and then you see there's like a clear distinction between the dark waters of North Florida and the light waters of Lower Florida. And, he was talking about the clear distinction or the change up because he was changing up, and it makes me think about how when I was younger, and like I said, I've been good all my life for the most part. Now I'm about 80% good, but I remember somebody telling me that what they thought about me was like, I was like the good Jedi that was turning into a bad Jedi. And I was like, why would you say that? Because back then I was still 130% good. So, but recently, there has been a change up. So, and it's never been a change up like this where I'm actually thinking like, let's make this change. So what ends up happening, I just went through a whole lot of things all at once. And me, mental and emotional health is very important to me. So, I track everything. And so it got to the point, like I said, God sometimes like, baby, we're not going to keep tracking this, because if you keep tracking all this, it's going to piss you off royally, right? And so, God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, depending on how you worship, what you worship, whatever, put me in a situation where I was just like, okay, I'm going to keep it moving. We're not going to keep tracking all this because, you got to live life. You can't be tracking everything because there's so much on a regular basis, right? So then, I was like, okay, I'm moving right along. I'm seeing all this. And I didn't really get the gist of why God was not letting me track all this stuff. But I just figured, okay, it's time to move on. I got other stuff to do. But the reason why is because God was protecting me from me. Because if I continue to track all this, I would be like, wait a minute, A, B, C, D. And for me, I'm not the kind of person, I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in that, verbally, mentally, any other kind of way. But sometimes you allow yourself to think things if you think it. Because like I said, I don't have that energy. But if you think it, So, I would have these thoughts so that I wouldn't have to say these things and have to, So, but God was just like, no, I got this. Let me handle it. so I back. I'm like, okay, just do what you do. So that's what I'm doing. And, God made me realize, sometimes you have pieces of the puzzle, and based on the pieces of the puzzle that you see, you think that the actions or the reactions that you have are appropriate, And any normal average person, yes, that would be very appropriate. But, for a person that's on a little bit of a higher level, that's not the way you're going to respond. And the reason why is because you don't have all the pieces. And last year I was going through this thing where I was saying how, trying to form Christian connections because the devil is busy. We got to stay busy in Christ. And trust and believe the devil is really busy. He can change like perceptions and all kinds of stuff, so many lies and deceit. So the things that I was thinking, they were just thoughts. They were just thoughts. Just thoughts. The things that I was thinking, they were not going to come to pass unless it was a dire situation, all right? But what ended up happening was that I got some more information. And the more information, it's like the devil plays with it. Because it's like the more information you get, then you're like, okay, so I'm glad that this didn't happen. Because if this would have happened, this would have been, this would have impacted these other persons that I would not have wanted to have been impacted at the time. But as time moved on, I'm just like, hey, they need to be impacted too. But so it's diabolical. But don't worry, I'm not there yet. But so it was just so many things just back and forth. And then that's basically what the song was about. What the person was freestyling about was how, the devil's trying to get them because they're trying to do the right thing, but he keeps flipping them over. So then I go from there to, just different experiences where, like I said, I'm a good person. I like to think. So different, hey, how you doing? But different. So when I'm talking about, Walter, just in case you've ever experienced, I don't know if you consider yourself a mostly good person or a mostly evil person, but have you ever had where there was a shift in the paradigm of the essence of who you are, where you're just like, we about to change this up a little bit. That happened to me recently, and I never had it to that extent where I actually had these thoughts, and I was just like, hey, we're going to change some things up. So basically what ends up happening, hey you. But what ends up happening is, after that situation, I saw what God was doing. I was like, okay. So then the next situation happened where it was just too many things that was happening back to back. And it was all in one day from different people, different places, different things. And I was like, oh no, we can't. It was like within a 24 to 48 hour period. It was too much at once. And I was like, no, this ain't going to continue. We about to straighten this up real quick. And you know how the Bible says, if you think it, you did it, And I thought it, and it was very mean. It was very evil. And I'm going to tell you something. Your thoughts are powerful because even if you don't if you think, people can sense it and feel it, and they know. They know. They know. And depending on the type of person they are, if they know, either they're going to try to, they want to learn to fight, so they're going to try to fight it their own way, or they're back because they know that, this person is no longer playing. So, but it was so much, and I really had these, there was a change in my whole dynamic. Okay, we'll just put it that way. And what it was, even though it was a freestyle, it didn't give you an opportunity to like have a whole verse. You could ad lib or whatever, but you didn't have a whole verse. They basically took it all, and there was maybe, if you wanted to do like 30 seconds or 10 seconds worth of verse, you probably could. It wasn't a whole lot of time because I really wanted to express what I'm trying to express now. It's easy to do like in poetry or in a song or something like that because it's all compact and the message is there. But so what I was starting to try to say, and I had to get it out. I had to get it out because this is such a coincidence that this freestyle, and I don't know if they, did this recently or not, because my experience happened within a week, and I don't know if they did it just out of poetic whatever, or if they made this because they actually had those feelings or thoughts too. And if they did, and I've had so much happen in the past couple of days, but anyhow, and what I was saying was, that morning when I left my home, wink, that morning when I left, I was feeling that way. I had those thoughts on my mind. And as I was walking down the street, and I was talking about how, back in the day, I know I'm old, so y'all don't know, but back in the day, they used to have like the Christmas Carol where Ebenezer Scrooge was introduced to three ghosts of the past, present, and future. And that's exactly, I didn't even think about it that way. That's kind of exactly what happened. Because when I was walking down the street, and I'll back up and I'll tell you the backstory behind each person. There was a young person, I was walking down the street one day. This is nearer to the downtown portion of town. And the young person came up behind me. They had a hoodie on, and I'm scared of everything. So I was scared a little bit. And they was like, oh, you don't remember me? And so I was just like, no. They was like, I see you on such and such all the time. And I was like, no, I don't remember you. Then I saw him again when I was walking past this restaurant that I went to. And he was like, hey, you remember me. And something about him is different. He has and I've seen a couple of people like this. And if you've seen people like this, let me know. They have a fire in their eyes. It's like their eyes light up. And it's almost like you can see their hair like in a fire. It's like their fire spirit or something. It's a different spirit. But it was a young person. And so he says to me, he says, hey, you don't remember me? I'm like, no. And then he was like, this is where I work at. I was like, oh, okay. Because I didn't know what to do with that. And I was like, well, what do you want me to do with that information? And then he was like, something. And so I didn't know what to say as a young person. So I was like, oh, what a handsome young man. I didn't know what to say. I said, what a handsome young man. I was confused. So basically, and then I was like, well, and so I just asked him, I said, what do you want me to do with this information? And he says to me, oh, yeah, if you ever want anything, come in and I'll hook you up, is basically why he was telling me. I didn't understand why he was telling me that. So I just asked him straight up, why are you telling me this? What do you want me to do with this information? So that was it. So I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, I'm never stopping in there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, But then I never thought I would see this person again unless I went down there. So the other day, walking down the street, I carry something special now with me. But walking down the street, somebody came behind me. I turned around. I saw a young person with their shirt off. I turned back around. And so when he walked up to me, he says, and I saw again, always a nice smile, fire in his eyes. And he says to me, you don't remember me? And I was just like, no. And he was like, remember I told you I always walk, I bump into you in the street sometimes. And last time I said I didn't remember, he says, well, we don't really talk a lot, it's just like in passing. And I was like, oh, okay. And then my energy was so strong, wrong. And I say strong, wrong because I told you evil thoughts because I was done, so many things. And so, my face is like deadpan. So he's like, he sees the look on my face and he doesn't recognize my spirit, So he says, oh, I didn't want anything, whatever. And so looking back on that because of the evil, which is called the evil, that would have been an opportunity because this is a good person, to witness or to build up the kingdom of good, and it wasn't that I thought evil thoughts about that person, but my spirit was wrong and he felt it, right? So second instance, I continue, and this is on the way back, so that's past, and then this one, I'm going to go in the order that it happened. And the next, I was at a park. I don't know why I was there. I think I went to shopping. Somebody stole something from me, so I had to go replace it. So I had to go shopping to replace it. I've been stolen from all the year this year. And it's crazy, stupid stuff. But so, I'm walking to the park, and behind me, I hear somebody. Again, I turn around. There's a person on a bicycle, And the backstory behind this bicycle person, because this is, again, unexpected. I did not expect this person to be on a bicycle, okay? Because this person actually teaches, a type of sports class. And I've heard them, and they had a real high-pitched, like, they're brown, like I said, they're brown like me. If you're looking at them, you're going to think of Afro descent. And actually they are, but I was just like, because of the way they talk, I thought Indian or something, because it was just so high-pitched and Carlton-esque from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that, definitely this person cannot be. So, and I heard them talking, and part of the thing with that person, that first encounter, was that I stopped, the first time I stopped at the park, it was to have lunch. And there were some older Caucasian males there, and they were talking about, and I think they wanted me to hear it, and they were talking about that guy and talking about bringing back lynchings. And I was just like, why would they say something like that? So I reported it to the park staff that, hey, these are the type of conversations that they are having in this public park. So I didn't think nothing of it. And then the second time I encountered that person, I think there was like some guy from the YMCA there. He was there with another young man, and they were boxing. And I like sports, I like athletics, so I'm not wanting to look because you don't want to make people uncomfortable. But I'm just like boxing, yeah. And so, I guess after everybody started to leave, there was him, it was a young black guy and a young white guy, and this family type thing. So after the instructor left, the white guy left, the black guy was trying to kind of hanging out. And he says to me, and I stopped by the park because I went shopping, and I stopped on the way back because I was going to a Bible study, and I said, I'll take a break here. So what ends up happening is the guy says to me, he's kind of like, you can feel him kind of checking you out. Then he speaks to me, and I speak out, and I said, oh yeah, I saw you boxing, and I was like, that's something I'm really interested in, but I didn't want to, give the wrong impression by looking. He was just like, no, I could tell because I could see it in your eyes that that you were interested in. And I was like, yeah. And so he was telling me all the information about that. And he was telling me, it's so many coincidences. He was telling me about the churches and this and that, because I was telling him about that. And then he gave me a word. I forgot what the word was because something else overpowered that. But he gave me a word. And then he asked me, because he thought I was married to the guy that was on the court. And I was just like, no. I told him I was just passing through. I'm on my way to Bible study. And actually, far from marriage material, I was actually going to take a nap, but there were all these kids here, and I was going to do that in the park with the kids here, right? And so we chatted it up. He gave me his information, and then that was that. I didn't think nothing else about it. There's a whole story behind that guy, but this is completely different from this diabolical evil change thing that's trying to happen that hopefully is not going to happen because God keep pulling me back the other way. So what ends up happening is this guy that's on the bicycle behind me, I turn around, and he's dark like me. I think he may be mixed, like black and white. He's of Afro descent. He's dark like me, but the eyes are like blue, like blue. And and my face didn't change because I was still had that dark, whatever that darkness was on me, I had it on me. I just turned around and looked at him, and I was just like, go ahead and go. And so he saw my spirit, and he was just like, he said, I hope you have a better day or something like that, a good day. Something, it wasn't mean. He was just noticing that something was wrong and I hope it gets fixed is basically what he was saying. And he went on about his business. And the thing about it was that the impression I had of this person from afar was clean cut, this, that, and other. But up close and personal, this person is kind of semi-dirty, like I am walking down the street like forever, And it looked like he was trying to turn around because he thought he was going to say something, and he decided not to, and he went on about his business. I didn't know for sure it was the same guy until I got to the park, unpacked my lunch, and here comes the guy with the voice, because I never am close enough to see his eyeballs when I'm at the park. So that's the third thing. And again, my spirit, that could have possibly been a good interaction, but my spirit. So those are three places where, had my spirit not been so negative and so diabolical, because you can feel it. To me, I think humans, we can sense things, you can feel it. That could have been something for the glory of God. Oh, I didn't tell you the third story. The third story was on my way back. On the way back, as I was walking on the way back, there was, like I said, whenever there's an intersection and I see a car, I always try to walk behind so I catch the license plate for one, and for two, they don't catch me where they can say something stupid or, put me in a bad situation. So I walk behind the car to catch the license plate. A little black car, especially, and for some reason there's a lot of really dark tinted cars like here in Valdosta. I don't like it. But so as I'm walking behind, the guy rolls down his window and says something. And I'm thinking that it's somebody flirting or whatever. I know you like flirt with you. I don't think so. But no, whatever is, whatever. So, and they keep talking. So I'm just like, hey, I'm almost 50 years old. Leave me alone. And then he's just like, no, ma'am. He was like, you don't remember me? And that made me stop. So I turned around to look at him, and I was like, no, I don't remember you. And he was like, I used to ride the scooter, and the backstory behind this person, when I walked down this street, I think I was either going to classes or going to church or something. There would always be like a young man right, a few times behind me with a scooter. And one time, I saw him riding the street, and it bothered me, but I couldn't say anything because he was moving too fast. So the next time that happened, he was behind me. I turned around, he was riding in the street, and there was like a whole bunch of cars behind him. So I was like, hey, I was like, get out the street, they're gonna hit you. And the kids these days, and I don't know if he's a kid or not, but kids these days, they don't have no problem cursing you out. So I pulled back a little bit, and I was just like, I know that I'm not your mother, but it's my heart. And he understood. He said, I understand, I understand. But then on hindsight, looking back, it might have been that he got in the street because he didn't want to disrespect me because I was on the sidewalk, right? But, he remembered that, and that's why he spoke to me, and he gave me his name. So, again, but I think he sensed something off about my spirit, and I wasn't thinking any evil, diabolical thoughts with that, because with that particular person, they reminded me of where that conversation came from, and everything was good. But now backtracking all the way back to why these thoughts are happening, and if anybody else has had recently these types of thoughts where, it's just like, okay, we about to flip the script because this ain't gonna work this way because I'm kind of tired of this, and you meant it, and I think this is part of the reason why I'm talking about it, because, well, I know why I'm talking about it, because it happened on Smule. I didn't have enough time to address it there because Smule is just for music, it's not for all of this. But, so the reasons it's happened is because, like I said, I had a series of things happen, back to back, where it was just like, rude, disrespectful, and I'm just like, and when it all came from one person, okay, that's fine, but now the devil is trying to diversify his portfolio and get all different types of people, black, white, whatever, he's trying to diversify it. And so I'm just like, no, this is not gonna work this way. And the one thing that made me think about this is that there was a person, it just happened to be Caucasian, race doesn't matter on this part, but they had this cutest little girl, and the way that they were behaving towards me, I was just like, I'm more innocent than that child. What if I don't know. But the devil is busy. Watch your spirit, watch your mind, because in that particular situation, I was starting to think some things, and I was serious because I was tired. You know what I'm saying? But God pulled me back, and the way he pulled me back was through those three young people that I passed by. The last one wasn't so young, but had it not been for them, because God was reminding me that, hey, you missing out because you got to think all these evil thoughts, and every good person. And also there was a woman, when I got to the park where the blue-eyed guy was, the dark guy like me, the blue eyes, there were some people that were setting up to do like a little meet and greet play or whatever, and the lady spoke to me. And when she spoke to me, after a while, I realized that she probably did pickleball. And maybe a few seasons ago, I visited a meeting where there was this woman. I spoke about what I was trying to do. And it might have been the woman that had wished me well on what I was trying to do. And she was like, oh, never mind, because my spirit was so dark. So again, we need to watch it. We need to be careful. The devil is tricky. Like I said, there have been perceptions that I have had that were wrong. And not only that, but there have been situations where, like I said, recently with this little change that was going on, everything, how the verse says, everything is there to prosper you, not to fail you. It's true, because had I continued to document what I was documenting and seeing how much was in, every time I documented it, I would allow myself to have a thought. So I was not a victim. But the thing is that you build that spirit up inside of you, right? And, it's true that, it starts with a thought. Your thought slowly and gradually proceeds to become more than thoughts. So we have to be very careful and mindful of that. Like I said, I've never found myself in that situation where I thought like that before. And even today wasn't an evil thought day. It was that was just one time. I say it like it's a repeated thing, but that was just a one-time thing. But today was a day of, unlove. Y'all know I was disowned in 2015. And then recently, within a week, this past week, I was like, dang, the world done disowned me too. And like I said, God will remind you, who you are and whose you are. And sometimes God will send angels your way through people, again, to prevent you from being out there like too far. I have so many stories, like I said, that, just in the past couple of days, even today. But the saying, lean not into your own understanding, is so true, because like what happened today, I don't even really understand. Back when I was trying to do my thing, which seems like forever ago, but it's been within the year, probably like last July, last August. I visited this church. There was this lady there that was wonderful. She seemed about my age, maybe a couple years on me. The sweetest thing, right? And she actually invested in me in a good way. And I never saw her again because I never went back. I'm sure she's seen me because Valdosta is only 5 miles. I walk a lot. So what ends up happening is, I have my little shopping cart parked to the side. I was trying to open the top on my drink because I was thirsty. I couldn't open it, so I stepped to the side where the trash can was so I could throw the trash away when I finished. And my cart was like in, not in the way, but if you have a whole lot of stuff, like if you're carrying, a guy just happened to come by that had like 2-3 baskets worth of stuff. And so I'm just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I saw you coming, but I thought you could get around. So I'm moving the stuff out the way. After him, there's a Caucasian lady. She minds her business and keep it moving. But then after that, there's that lady that I was telling about from church, beautiful, nice lady. And she says, hey, I know you. And I'm looking. And of course, if anybody says, hey, I know you, I don't know anybody. It has to be from church, So I'm like, and even that's far in between. So I'm just like, from church? She was like, yeah. And then she told me her name, and I was like, name sound familiar? And I was like, oh, yeah. And I had to tell her the reason I didn't go back to that church, and she never asked me for me to pay for anything, but it was because I didn't have anything to pay her, And she was like, oh, whatever. She was telling me about something they had going. And another thing that I'm learning about myself, I'm learning a lot about me this season, and I learned about some other things about me that I didn't share over the past couple of days too. But that sometimes when people approach you and they want to love on you, I got me some hugs. I needed some hugs, so I got those, and she offered them. Actually, I've had a few, and I just want to give a shout out to all the women in Valdosta. Well, not all, but the women that God put in front of me in Valdosta the past couple of days. Just exquisite, immaculate, right on time, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Just standing in the gap, like she came right in time. So. And normally I wouldn't give hugs because I've walked like 10 miles, I'm sweating, all of that, right? But, I was okay because I hadn't walked that far yet. I walked probably about a mile. But, so I think, initially the feeling I got was that God put her there because I was feeling particularly unloved. I felt like, that kind of woe is me feeling, and I was just like, man, useless, right? But, she was telling me about this, and the point that I was getting to is that we have to be careful too. Sometimes we're so selfish when people interact with us. We think it's all about us, this, that, and the other. But perhaps, we got to give people a chance to say whatever it is they want to say. She was having a women's program. Perhaps she wanted me to do something for the program, whatever. But if you bombard them with so much negativity, they don't have a chance to tell you anything, or you done worn them out with a whole bunch of stuff. When people come to you, let them come to you and let them tell you whatever it is they're going to tell you. Don't just jump on it. Jump on it. You don't just jump on it so fast that they don't have a chance to say what they got to say, because they may have come to you for a specific purpose. So that's one lesson that I learned. And I learned a couple of other things too. But that definitely was one. But I want to know, are y'all having any issues with the battling between, like, are you noticing any changes? Maybe not in yourself, but maybe in people around you where, like it seems like just evil is rampant, And luckily for those of us that believe in God or believe in a higher power or that want to be good and stay good, luckily for us, there is something that pulls us back to the middle or something that says, well, hey, it just reminds you of who you are and who you belong to. Because I'm going to tell you, went through some things the past couple of days, and I was like, what? But yeah, but like I said, God always sends his angels to watch over me. But my lessons going forward for myself is that if somebody comes up to me and speaks to me, and, like again, and I'm going to tell you why I have a shout out for the women. Just so much goodness. One, her greeted me with a hug, left me with a hug. A couple of days ago, I went shopping and, and I learned of some benefits that I could get through that shopping process. And I went over to, a place we all visit, another shopping place. And as I was leaving, and I don't know, it's always something surrounding me, but as I was leaving, I got my hiking backpack and all this other stuff. This lady steps in front of me and she holds up something. And typically, and it's funny because, again, the power of intention, recently, and that's the other lesson that God was teaching me too, that God provides everything, man provides nothing. I already knew that, but God was letting me know because, again, I was putting my ducks in a row to start trying to do something for myself. And God was just like, it don't even take all of that. I'll do it. And I'm going to tell you how I know it was God, because what this woman presented to me, normally I would be like, no, such and such and such. But I was just like, wow, thank you. I asked her, I said, what made you think about me? And the sad part, just like the sad part of the lady today that I bumped into, is probably what made her think about me was probably without me knowing, because I get so much of that negative that I just focus and I don't see it, right? It's like I know it's there, it's okay. But probably as I was walking through, maybe she saw a lot of people, behaving negatively, or maybe after I walked past, something negative was said, and she felt like she had to stand in the gap. That's probably what it was, because I asked her, I said, what made you think about me? And when I looked at her face, this is not her words, this is just my interpretation of what I saw when I looked at her face, that perhaps she was in a tough situation before, you know what I'm saying? Or perhaps, I don't know what it was, she felt for me for some reason. I don't know what it was. And she was just like, she was starting to say, but maybe she couldn't say because of the people that was around, or maybe she couldn't say because her heart and her mind hadn't come to terms with it. She didn't know how it was going to be taken, whatever. If you ever see me, you can tell me the truth. I don't have no problem with it. It could be my shoes. My shoes are beat down, wore down, tore down, whatever. But she thought about me, And this is a Caucasian lady. And so, elder, she reminds me of maybe somebody I worked with way back in the day. And that could be it too. Maybe she was, she recognized me. It could be a number of things. So what ends up happening is she says, I just thought about you. She looked down and she's like, I just thought about you. That's all, right? And when she says that, she then moves to go on. I went on about my business. She went on about hers. But I was so curious that I wanted to know what exactly was it that made her think about me in a way that would move her to say, because nobody thinks about me, nobody. And so as I watched her, she was with this older woman. I don't know if she was with, she saw me at the previous shopping place that I went to before that. I'm not sure what the situation was, right? So, I don't know, but she thought about me. And my response to it was different than it normally would be. I wanted to know why. And the reason that I wanted to know why, normally I don't care about why, I don't ask about why. Because my thing in the past has always been what somebody else thinks or whatever, it's not your business. But if it comes to the point where you don't want to be oblivious, if it's so many people saying or behaving a certain way or a similar way, and across different demographics, I need to know what's going on because either I'm doing something that's really offensive, that's going to be a problem, or you just have a behavioral issue and you need to control yourself. I need to find out what it is, So, and in the past, I wouldn't ask because, like I said, you have a situation where you're in a store and somebody's 10 feet behind you and, it's a black male, and that's the other sad thing. I'm not gonna go there, but you don't want to ask because again, people might get the wrong impression you asking, but like I said, that I think all those different things that happened made it seem like there was a key that was turning, and it was turning to unlock Pandora's box, and I don't want that box to be unlocked, right? So in the future, I will ask, because again, I'll just say, hey, normally I wouldn't ask this question, because people have their own perceptions and their right to feel how they feel and behave how they behave. But, this is for my mental health and wealth, and I need to make sure, because I'm seeing that this reaction that you're having, is something that's being had over a few different types of people, different socioeconomic classes. I need to know, what is the cause of this? Is it something that, that you're perceiving, that you're seeing, that I need to know about so I can adjust it? Because I don't particularly like this response that I'm getting, right? Or if it's something that's just, individual and specific to you, a perception, or because you saw somebody else do that, you thought you play it safe and do the same thing, I need to know, right? Because at this point, that's where we are. We're grown. I need to know, and I don't have no problem asking, right? So, yeah. So those are the things that I've been going through over the past few days. Like I said, because I grew up in church, I refer to everything through terms of God and the devil and all this, that, and other. But if you didn't grow up that way, look at it as a universe. You can replace my God, me saying God, with universe, and me saying the devil with opposition, or whatever makes you feel better. But has anybody else been going through this? And also, like last year, I've had people tell me that they were seeing all these different things happening, and it's just so out in the open. They were noticing it. But yeah, that's it. I just had to get that out because, again, this all stemmed from this guy or a woman, I don't know if it's a male or female, doing a freestyle track for Sadness, which wasn't really Sadness. They actually did their own lyrics on it, and the lyrics were about, the diabolical change that was going on within them. So, but that's it. I'm going to leave it at that.